I just saw your tag come through on IG, and so I was kind of trying to quickly go through your page and like get an idea of, you know, who you are.
Oh yeah, there's a lot there. I do a lot of
Yeah.
collaborations with other people, so
Yeah, I was like, okay, so this is not going to be quick. I'm going to have to come back to this later.
the archive.
I'm pretty sure that I have COVID again.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Imagine putting Vicks Vapor Rub on your upper lip under your nose because you're so congested and not being able to smell it. Like, what?
No. No.
How do you not smell Vicks? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have COVID.
I hate that. And
Yeah.
I mean like
Yeah.
I've been real sensitive to just like the air quality, been having some shortness of breath, some cough just from the tornado. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a COVID test just to make sure that that's not what it is. I took one
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 weeks ago because I was sick and
Hmm.
I was negative then, but I'm like, I don't, who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck
Anything.
knows? Yeah, I took a COVID test a couple of weeks ago, also, just one that I had like laying around the house,
Yeah.
and it said negative. But also, I'm like, do they expire? Like, I don't know. But
They
I
do.
can't smell anything. I don't care what the test says. I have fucking COVID right now.
Bruh. Ugh.
Yeah,
I hope you heal up and recover quickly.
yeah.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
definitely going right back to sleep after we get done here today. Don't even worry about it.
Well, I was gonna say if you only want to do an hour,
We'll
we
see
can
what
do this
happens.
another day. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Don't
we'll see
don't
what
stress
happens. I
yourself
woke up
too
from
much.
a nap at like 4:30, and I thought about texting you, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna get up and we can knock this out because I'm just going to bed. My daughter and grandson are gone for the weekend, so it's quiet around here, so it's fine. And
Hell yeah.
I don't feel horrible. I don't feel horrible. I just can't smell shit, and that's weird.
Ugh,
Hmm.
that is such a
Um,
weird feeling.
yeah, yeah. Food doesn't taste delicious. Like, what the
Bruh.
fuck?
Like just that sentence brought me back to 2021. And I'm just
Yes.
oh man. Made some enchiladas for like the first time, couldn't taste it. I'm like,
That's so
no.
sad.
Never
It's
Dang.
made
so
them again.
sad.
Like I'm like that
What
was
I'm sorry. I
variant?
didn't mean to bring.
What variant is that you couldn't taste or smell?
that's a good
I don't
question.
know.
That was
I don't
like the
know.
OG when I had it, that was before they even had vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I had
Yeah.
corona or when I was testing positive, I never lost my taste or smell,
Mhm.
thankfully,
Oh
because I
Yeah.
would have been very, very sad.
it was not a fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be, assuming that that's what it is, and I can't think of anything else it would be. This will be my fourth time having it that I know of. And the only time I lost my, and I can't even say I lost my sense of smell and taste. It just made everything taste like metal last time.
Mm.
So it wasn't that I lost it, it's just that everything tasted like metal.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know. But I'm alive. I don't feel terrible. I've got like a runny nose and I'm just really tired, little headache. But like black women gonna black women, okay.
Look, we're still here.
Yeah.
Man.
At
That
So it's
the end of
all
reminds
the
good.
day.
when you say the
All
metal
good.
part, that reminds me of when okay, first time I had COVID, lost taste and smell. Then I ate sushi like some months later, and I love sushi. And I literally spit out a piece of sushi because of the taste of the soy sauce that was on it. And so then after that, I realized I can only tolerate Kikkoman soy sauce.
Mm,
And it's since like I mean in the last couple of years I feel like I can tolerate other varieties, but for that period of time like Kikkoman was the only one doing it. Everything
yeah.
else tasted like soap.
No bueno.
Yeah, no,
No
that was not
bueno.
fun.
Okay, so I'm reading us in, but you're in charge of the schedule again today, right, Impad?
You got it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, welcome back to Black Behind the Chair. I'm Peppermint Petty.
I'm Impad.
Hello, and I'm Janae.
All right, and Impad and I are two licensed cosmetologists who work on all hair textures. Historically, salons have been hubs for real talk, debates, advice, and yes, a little gossip. Now we're bringing those community conversations online. Our chairs hold more than just clients, they hold culture, trust, and tradition. So each episode, we dive into hot topics, current events, and salon stories, and we want to know your thoughts. So follow us at Black Behind the Chair on major platforms, drop a comment, we'll follow you back. Love the show, share it with a friend. It's a free way to support our growth. And if you've got something to say, we want to hear about it. You can text or call us at 470-713-5905. Ladies, give me one word to describe your hair today.
Clean, because I showered.
Yes.
I would say natural was the first thing that came to mind. I'm just doing me.
Yes. Mine is thick.
Yeah.
Thick. Super
Dense.
thick.
Love.
Very much so. Yes. My daughter's giving me braids in a couple weeks for vacation, and I at this point can't wait. I don't normally like my hair to be braided, but like this is a lot of fucking hair. What am I supposed to do with all this?
Yeah. I was thinking about doing some twists.
Mm. Some flat twists would be really, really cute on you,
Yeah.
for the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want some length because I'm at that awkward stage where it's like, well, if we cut it, then it's like we start over,
Yes.
or we just have to suck it up.
Just gotta push through, man. Use some scarves, hats,
Yes.
pin it back, get some braids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
Well,
scar.
and
Yeah.
I'm debating because I used to have an undercut for a really long time. So I'm debating if I want to get that back because I
Mm.
know this summer they're already saying it's going to be hotter than last summer. So I'm like, okay.
And we got off easy last summer. It was mild.
Yeah.
Whenever I describe St. Louis summers, you know, I've never lived in St. Louis for a long period of time. But I spent every summer in St. Louis as a child. I was just reminiscing with my dad or with my husband last night about the first sunburn I ever got being at Heman Park Pool in University City and like going to Northwest Plaza and going to Saints roller skating ring back in the day. But the fucking heat in St. Louis, it's not even the heat, it's the humidity. Like I remember feeling like I was gonna drown. Like you go outside in the summer and you feel like you're gonna drown because it's so humid. So humid. My sister always called it oppressive. The heat in St. Louis is
Yeah.
oppressive.
It definitely can be.
My first job was lifeguarding, and like I remember there were days where it was like you don't want to even stand in the pool because it feels like bath water. Like I'm good.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah.
Before we get started, I wanted to reach back for people that watch all the time. You know that we're kind of just an ongoing conversation. And sometimes we reach back to old episodes. And a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about like the red pill, manosphere, that whole thing. And I was saying that there was a OG guy back in the day, and I couldn't remember his name. I remembered his name. His name is Tommy Sotomayor. And he is a Black man who hates all things Black. He reminds me of is it House Party or Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your House? One of the movies where it's like spoofs of Black movies, and there's a Black guy on there that's talking about, he's like, I hate Whoopi Goldberg's lips. I hate the back of Forrest Whitaker's neck. Like he's talking about all the black shit that he hates. That is Tony Sotomayor. Sotomayor is his name. And I just remembered him from the MySpace days, but I wanted to make sure. Someone was saying Kevin Samuels. I'm like, no, it's way before him. Tommy Sotomayor. He hates all things black, especially black women. I want to make sure we got his name out in the streets.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. So we're going to talk about is it pronounced the Nottoway plantation that burned down recently? That was that was awesome, I thought. I was here for it.
I just keep smiling.
Yeah.
See news about it, like I feel like the ancestors are smiling. I feel, I'm a hoodoo practitioner, conjurer, and so I can feel the spirits rejoicing, period.
Wow.
I've seen angel numbers leading up to this interview actually all day, and I realized that was a topic of conversation, and I connected with another Black spiritualist in the community, and I feel like there's a lot of good energy happening for a lot of us right now coming together as a community, and I think that this is a part of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
There is on Spotify, there's a white noise playlist, and it's literally just the Nottoway plantation burning down. Definitely fell asleep to it the other night. Definitely did.
That's amazing.
My favorite part of it all was apparently, so the fire started. Firemen came, put the fire out. The owner, the original family still owns the plantation, came out and said like that they were going to rebuild, like this isn't the end of it, blah, blah. And the ancestors were like, not today, bitch, and set it on fire again.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That shit burned to the ground. And the servants' quarters that were behind it were left unscathed. Just saying.
Yes.
Oh, Ashe.
Yes.
Yes. Very.
Also,
amazing.
in that same vein, apparently in North Carolina, there was some really bad weather and a huge, like, I don't know if it was the entire tree or just a really big branch, but something fell through a Confederate museum in North Carolina within days of the thing at the Nottoway plantation. So just saying, the ancestors are showing out and it's not even summer yet.
Love.
That speaks to also the age of Aquarius, the Pluto being in Aquarius right now. Last time Pluto was in Aquarius was when the Haitian slave revolts happened. So I think that there are, like, in the cosmos, we've got energy happening.
I love it.
And what are we, like 200? Is this the 250 year into, or are we 249 years?
I think it's 249. I think.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it was 1770.
Okay.
Anybody in the audience that's watching and wants to correct us, we're here for the fact check.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely. But the fall of the empire, got to start somewhere.
We're seeing it.
I just think it's fascinating that they are working so hard to erase history from schools, but they're like devastated that their shrines to Black suffering are being harmed. Weird, but okay.
Very weird.
I mean, it's amazing what people want to preserve, right? What are we trying to preserve here? What is the history that you are trying to remember? Are you going to articulate that? Are you comfortable articulating that?
And I've never understood, like, why do you want to preserve that? And if you are going to preserve that, then tell the whole story. Like, don't sit here and say, like, it's heritage, not hate, but then you're going to ignore all the facts about, like, the horror around, like, slavery. Like, no. We don't just get to pick and choose what we want and what we don't want. Like, call
Yeah.
it like it is.
Yeah.
Ugh. And that just kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys saw video of there were some neo-Nazis up in Kansas City marching around. And you know what? I meant to say in the beginning, for me going forward, I should just call myself like trigger warning because I know I'm gonna say something.
Yes.
I know I'm
I
gonna
love
say
this.
something that's gonna be like, ooh. And
That should
unfortunately,
totally be your radio name. I love that.
it should. I really need it. But these fucking little like bitch ass men that put on these masks and go downtown or wherever and like say their little chants, like, you guys are fucking bitches. Take off your fucking mask. Like, because I know for a fact when we were asking, like, hey, if you're going to be out in public, like, and you're not going to get vaccinated, could you just wear a mask? And
they lost
and y'all were all up in arms, like, no, that's against my freedom and blah, blah, blah. Oh, but y'all want to go out and spread your little hate and be all anonymous? Fuck you.
I love how you minimize the hate. Spreading your little hate. I love that.
It's so annoying.
It is.
It's
It
so
is.
like, I mean, it is minimum. It's small dick energy. Like, it's just
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely. No, it reminds me of and I'll keep this brief because I love to go off on a little story. But my husband's car, we call it Little Funky because apparently whenever I get mad, I call like whatever we're talking about Little Funky. So that's what it reminds your little funky ass car, your little funky ass hate.
Literally. Like, y'all are just so, you're uneducated, you're a loser, like you're probably living in your mom's basement. Like, grow the fuck up. Grow up.
And you know what's really crazy is I truly believe that the reason that they're wearing masks is because they're not those people. The reason they're wearing masks is because they're the doctor that sends you home, like Adriana Smith here in Georgia, when you're actually having a brain bleed, or they're the judge that's going to sentence you to, a crime where you've had a jury of your peers, or they're, the social worker that's responsible. And I think that's really why they wear the mask, because they have real jobs
For
that affect
sure.
real lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, these people are judges, they're public servants, they're, and
All I'm
Politicians,
saying,
police officers.
all I'm saying is if you're gonna go out there and stand on that business, babe.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah,
Say
say
it
it
with
with your whole chest.
I'm gonna let
Yep.
everyone know your first and last name. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
address, like,
And like, yeah, if you really believe in what you're preaching, why are you hiding?
right.
Mhm.
Why are you scared?
Yep.
Also, would
Same.
like to point out that they had a police escort. Not that we're shocked, but just want to
Yeah.
put that out there. And police like watched them all gather up in a U-Haul, which I thought like that was illegal to transport like humans in like U-Haul trucks like that, but
Oh,
what
That
do I know?
same exact thing happened in where was it? We just talked about it again in the last few weeks. Some Nazis showed up. Was it Ohio?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna put it in the show notes, right? But it was the
predominantly
same
black
thing. They had a
neighborhood.
police. It was like the first free black neighborhood above the Mason-Dixon line. Like it was a really important town in black history.
Mm-hmm.
Nazi protesters, police escort, they all jumped in
Mhm.
the back of a U-Haul. So
Mm-hmm.
just putting a little pin in that. We might have to revisit that again soon.
Yes.
Noted.
Well, and there was another situation, I want to say somewhere like northwest, I think there was like a Proud Boy or neo-Nazi bus, and like, yeah, they all got into the U-Haul trucks. So maybe U-Haul,
Interesting.
like, stop renting to neo-Nazis. I don't know.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
like
maybe U-Haul is neo-Nazis.
Yeah, or
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, like that's another thing. I'm being very meticulous about like, okay, which companies were supporting Trump? Which companies have already shown who the fuck they are? And like, let's make sure that that's always top of mind. Like, like
Mhm.
that's the choice that we do have is where we're putting our money. And like,
Mhm.
we got to be more conscientious about that as a community. Like
Yeah,
we got to stand on business first and foremost.
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I actually I went inside of Target not to buy anything, just to see like what's going on in Target. That shit was a ghost town.
Uh,
It was a ghost town. So I just went in and did like a quick big circle and came on out, but it was a ghost
wow.
town.
I want to say they just came out with a report. I think they're like $680 million down from last year's quarter or something
Yeah,
like that.
they're not okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I know me personally, I haven't been.
Mm-mm.
No, I'll never shop in Target again. And it's crazy. In the beginning, it was a little tougher because I actually did love Target, but yeah, no, we're good.
I used to do shipped shopping, so that was owned by Target, and that was when I was
Mm,
living in Denver, like a couple of years ago. I think I stopped doing that in like 2021, maybe 2022. Haven't shopped
yep,
since.
yep.
One of my coworkers, and we've since made up since then, but he came in the other day or a few weeks ago and he had a Starbucks cup, and everyone was kind of talking about I guess when he went in, they were doing like the union like picket line or whatever, and he broke it. I
Whoa,
know, I
On.
know.
whoa.
And so, they were, like, teasing him about it, and I was like, "Damn, not you, like, breaking the picket line and supporting genocide, like, that's crazy." Like, double
Crazy.
homicide, and he got a little, like, in his fifis a little bit, and like I said, we've since made up, but the other day he came in and he thought that this Target bag was mine, and he was like, "Oh, were you shopping at Target?" And I was like, "Oh, nope, not me. Thought you thought you almost had me. No."
Yes. Okay, but let's hold each other accountable. I'm here for it.
Yes,
And bring your ass back in here with no Starbucks cup, though.
Doing
Do
that.
it.
please.
Like crossing the picket line to buy Starbucks is insane.
Crazy work.
Yeah, no, that's
Crazy work.
ancestors were not happy.
Yeah, crazy work. But people, they're like, I have to get my coffee.
Indeed.
And I don't
Dunkin' is
know.
literally right there.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so like I don't know what it's like to have that craving. And not to deny like anyone's, guilty pleasure, like little sweet treat or whatever. But I'm like, there's so many other coffee places though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, local shops. Like,
Local
why
shop.
not support your
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like I know I think we've all kind of talked about this before. Like, I understand if you're more in a secluded area, right? And you only have Target, you only have Walmart, you only have these big corporate
Big box
chains. Like,
stores. Yeah.
yeah, no one's like pointing at you and being like, you're a horrible person. Like, we get it, you have to live. But to me, to live in like St. Louis, it is inexcusable to
Mhm.
use such, especially like chains and corporations that are actively hurting the community. Like, even if you want to take, like, to me, genocide is pretty bad, but even if you want to take that out of the situation, like, what are they really doing? I mean, their workers are always striking against them. Like, they don't treat their workers well. So, like, and if they're supporting a genocide, that's destroying the environment. So, like, that's not good for you either.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm just a hairstylist and I don't drink coffee. So,
I
that's
mean,
just me.
priorities. Like, I feel like that just needs to be more. There needs to be more awareness, maybe built around that, and like it is incentivized. Convenience. I've heard the sentiment that we are shackled by convenience. And
Mhm.
so, like it is very
I believe it.
convenient to order something on
Hmm.
Amazon Prime. It is
Hmm.
very convenient to go to Starbucks and grab a coffee versus like actually getting integrated into your community and finding the local coffee shop. Like
Hmm.
it is it's easy to just do that. It's way easier to do to feed the corporate system as opposed to stepping outside of it and saying I'm not doing this.
Hmm. Me and one of my guests the other day, we were just talking about. She's a white woman in her 60s, I think. And she was saying how, because she works for the VA, she's a therapist. And she was talking about how there have been times where majority of her people that she's talking to have been like black men. And um she was saying how in this situation, like, she built this great relationship with them and like it was very open and accepting. But then when she met the wives, like, the wives did not trust her at all. And she didn't well, she was just kind of like, as a white woman who doesn't want to be perceived as like the others, how do I, navigate that? And me and one of my owners was also talking about that because there's a bar up here, Hidden Gems, where they've kind of been under some heat for, like, okay, you say you're this safe, inclusive, like, space, but are you really? And for Hidden Gems, they are also like two white women. And so, yeah, there's like this conversation of like, well, how do I prove that I'm not like them? And I was kind of telling them, I was like, well, are you actively getting involved in the community? Like, are you showing up and showing out? Like, it's one thing to just be like, oh, like, I'm the cool white girl, like, hey,
But are you being the
but
cool white
yeah,
girl?
but are you being the cool white girl?
Yeah.
And I know, like, from personal experience, like, white femme queer women, especially, like, it bothers the shit out of me sometimes of them coming into certain spaces and like using their queerness as like, well, see, I'm oppressed too. Like, I know what you're going through. And it's like,
Girl.
yeah, like, excuse me?
Yeah.
You hear yourself right now?
Yeah.
And I feel like with some of these white women in these spaces, like, you get to this point where I know I want some accountability. Like, if you're gonna be in this space, like, what does accountability look like? And if you're like saying like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, but like you can't call out your racist grandpa at Thanksgiving, nah, babes, I don't think you're really about it. Because if you can't even call out your grandpa, what makes me think that you can like call out the whole system?
Yeah, no, I feel like I was talking to my niece about this. So my first niece, she just graduated high school. She is indigenous. She's Lakota Sioux, and then we are also indigenous Mexican. And we were just talking about like, her mom is my sister. We're Mexican, but she's white passing, and then her dad is Lakota, but he's a Trump supporter. And I'm like, we have to be able to set our boundaries for ourselves and maintain those. And like a lot of that does look like accountability. And, her mom, I feel like, has done a pretty good job of advocating for her. And she's also queer. And so, like, advocating for queerness too. But at the same time, there's always room for improvement, right? Like, unless you commit yourself to being an advocate for the community, then it's there's not like there's a level of accountability that's lacking. You don't We need to have that level of accountability visible, and like we're all together on that. It can't just be, oh yeah, like I'm there, I'm an advocate, I'm cool, but if I don't see you actually being cool, then that means nothing.
Exactly. Well, and I was telling both like my boss and my guest, like they're two white women that I think can sit with the uncomfortable truth about like all the atrocities that have led us up to here. And I was telling them, I was like, because they were saying, they get frustrated with other white people like who say they're like this, but then they don't do it. And I was like, yeah, because a lot of people like can't sit with that uncomfortableness. Even if like I feel like we all know that yes, white people today, like we are all aware that y'all aren't doing slavery, right? Like, well, some of you,
Well,
but like I would hope majority, like but you benefited from it. And like some of y'all can't even
To
come
this
to
day.
terms that
Yeah.
you even benefited from it.
right.
And
Not a lot of
uh
them can.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I always refer to when Trump won the first time, when Van Jones was still on CNN, and everyone was just kind of like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this happened. This is so shocking, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I can believe this happened. He was like, this is white rage for having a black president for the past 8 years. And like, if y'all can't hold each other accountable, what makes you think I want you in my space
Yeah.
trying to hold?
Again, like, and I've said this before, but it will be forever relevant. And I actually just repeated it to my daughter, who had never, my daughter had no idea how revolutionary Muhammad Ali was. I didn't know that. We just had this conversation recently. And how white America didn't really fuck with Muhammad Ali until he couldn't talk anymore. Then all of a sudden they were propping him up. But Muhammad Ali said something to the effect of like, if there's a pit of snakes and some of the snakes are poisonous and some of them are not, I don't know which snakes are poisonous and which ones are not. So I just avoid all snakes.
Yo.
It's
I
not personal. He didn't say it's not personal, but I'm just saying for self-preservation, I just avoid all snakes because I don't know which ones bite and which ones are poisonous and which ones aren't. And like, if you as a white person claim to understand where we are in history, what we've been through, and all of that, and you can't understand why I, as a black woman, feel trepidation around white people, then you still have work to do, babes. You still have work to do. And it's not my
Exactly.
job to make you feel comfortable.
Mhm.
I've said that
Exactly.
too. Like, I've said that it's not our job to convince white people to stop dehumanizing us.
Yeah.
It's not my job to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all need to be accountable to each other. Y'all need to
Yeah.
check
Mm-hmm.
yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't have shit to do with me.
That has
Mhm.
nothing to do with me. I am
Keep
so
me out of
focused
it.
on helping and like empowering and elevating my own. That
Mhm.
does not have to do with you. Like, honestly, because white problems are so far removed from mine that that has nothing to do with what we're doing at all at any
Yeah.
given point. I'm not thinking about white issues
Absolutely.
ever.
Like literally ever.
Literally ever. Well, and that's the thing too, because y'all know, like, I love a good TV show, but I'm really not like, I think I shock some people when I say I'm not a huge reality TV watcher. There are some shows, that I've seen, but I think for the majority, like a lot of people are like, "What? You don't watch this reality show? I thought you would love that." No,
Mhm.
I love the weird reality shows like Give Me Sister Wives, anything culty or like questionable. Currently watching Gypsy Sisters, wild. But you know, with with these certain reality shows with predominantly white people, I'm like, these are your problems? Like, these are nothing. Like, have you turned on the news? Do you really know what's going on in the world and you're like crying about this? That's crazy
Yeah.
work.
Well, and gypsy is that is a slur according to the
Yeah.
Roman people.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, you just have them appropriating all of these terms and just being like, oh, whatever. Like, they have no idea where so much of their vernacular comes from.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and this show is definitely like TLC. And yeah, because when I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, isn't gypsy like kind of a slur? And all these girls are, I mean, they're from fucking West Virginia. Now, I don't know if they come from like European descent or whatever, but I'm just like, y'all are no,
Yeah.
this is not what you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and going back to like white people in these spaces, like if you're going to want to do better, like you need to know your guilt cannot overshadow our pain. So
Yeah.
once you like get that through your head, then maybe come talk. But until then, let's just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
That's a good statement. Your guilt cannot
Yeah.
override our pain. Real shit.
All
Yeah.
right.
So before we move on, Dee popped in and said that the guest's audio is muffled. And it actually also is very low on my end. I was just gonna save it and wait until we went on a break to mention it. But if there's anything you can do to like, if not, leave it. And when we take our break, you can work on it because I think that I can still normalize it in the edit.
Okay, cool. I will.
So
I'll come closer, and then also I've got some headphones that should have better audio on them.
Perfect. Um, Peppermint, you kind of talked about Adriana. Is it Adriana Smith?
hmm
So let's talk about her for a little bit.
yeah. So Adriana Smith is a Black woman here in Georgia. She at the time was 9 weeks pregnant. Went to the doctor because she was having really intense headaches. The doctor gave her medication and sent her home. And then I believe it was the next morning where her husband woke up and she was like gurgling. I think she went to the doctor twice. Both times she was sent home. Long story short, she's officially brain dead. But the state of Georgia is one of the states that passed those draconian abortion bans. And so even though she's dead, the hospital is choosing to keep her body alive, so that her body can be an incubator for the pregnancy that she was holding. They're not allowing the family to have any say so. And I just find it funny how they didn't do everything they deserved her life so that she could live.
Right.
But now they're forcing sky high medical bills on this family because the family is still required to pay the medical bills for them to keep her alive for the next 8 months, so that maybe she can deliver a baby. Like, so her mom is just feeling very traumatized. Yeah, it's a dumpster fire. Georgia continues to be a raging dumpster fire. And so Adriana Smith is her name. I want to say she's in Marietta, Georgia, but I can't swear to it. It's north of Atlanta. And so I just kind of want to keep our eye on that story because I feel like that's going to set a precedent.
Yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely is. I mean, we've already seen so many of our ancestors sacrificed to these predatory medical practices put in place by white supremacists. And so setting a precedent of using Black bodies for the benefit of the empire is what's happening. And yeah, no, it is going to be very important to follow this and stand up against it, first of
And
all.
it's wild to me because they're keeping her alive so that this baby potentially can gestate, its full term. But if the baby is born and they need assistance with medical care, food, daycare, housing, like crickets,
Where's that coming from? Where has it ever come from?
crickets.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it just is so frustrating. Yeah, it's just frustrating. And so Adriana Smith, I just wanted to say her name and keep her family, in our thoughts.
Well, and I'm also thinking, like, how is that even humane? Like, I've never been pregnant, so like I don't know, the feeling or anything. But I would imagine, former baby speaking, I would imagine that like you would need like the host to be like healthy and in good physical condition. And if we're brain dead, like we don't even got brain activity moving. So like if this fetus does make it to, birth, like what's
What kind
that
of
going to
human
do
are
to
they
the
gonna be?
kid?
What
And
quality
also
of life is
imagine if this kid grows up and like learns like, oh, by the way, the state kept your mom, like she was brain dead, but they kept her on the incubator so you could survive without her.
Yeah.
Cool.
what quality of life is that going to leave for anyone in this
Mhm.
For
situation,
anyone.
for anyone related to the family, in the family, like all Black women like ourselves seeing this play out,
Mhm.
like psychologically this is harmful to all involved.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Dee says she's a test. If there's no pushback, white women are next.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's gross. It's terrifying. Yeah.
Y'all white women want to be in The Handmaid's Tale so bad. Like, y'all watched that show and read that book and were like, you know what?
Sounds like a good
Yes.
time.
Sounds like a good time. I want to be there. Of Donald House. That's you, babes.
I
Like that.
feel like, generally speaking, that as long as they have someone that they can look down on, it's whatever.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's been Black women, it's been Mexican women, it's been literally
Indigenous.
insert any woman of color,
Yeah.
Mhm.
always going to be that.
And
Yeah.
I know they're not going to care about Adriana Smith because they didn't care about, yeah, Mexican women being separated from their children down in the ICE centers, and they were getting hysterectomies, and no one. They were literally being sterilized. And we only found that out because a Black nurse whistle blew on the whole
Yep.
thing. And I always
Yep.
hope, like, I hope she's doing good and
Yeah.
safe. Um,
Yeah.
and that was years ago. So,
That
like,
was also happening in Israel as well. And I
mhm,
think we've talked about it, but since we're talking about that, I feel like it's a great time to bring it up. There are lots of, um, they would be Black Jews, indigenous Jews to that area are Black people. And in Israel, when they were crossing the border, they were being sterilized so that if they were allowed in, when they were allowed in, they were being sterilized so that they weren't producing additional Black Jews. So,
mhm.
Whoa.
yeah.
And I know Planned Parenthood does a lot of good stuff now, but is it the creator of that, like,
Margaret Sanger, I think, is who you're thinking of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, like, she didn't like women of color and, like, used that to sterilize indigenous.
I'm trying to think of that term. What is it called? Eugenics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we see that play
Yeah.
out every day in, day out now.
To
I
this
mean,
day.
I was just talking to my partner about that, just how as a society people are collectively embracing like survival of the fittest, let the most vulnerable have to seclude themselves, isolate themselves, remove themselves from society and fend for themselves. And if you can't hang, if you can't, if you can't go maskless, then fuck off, kind of thing. And like that has been a really big wake up call for me, because I'm finding that I'm becoming more sensitive to like the climate change that's happening. The tornado air has increased my sensitivity to the air quality, and so it's like, okay, maybe I can't hang with the big dogs. I gotta wear a mask, actually. Or maybe I'm not gonna be at the huge stadium crowd, if there's no protections, I need to remove myself. But unfortunately, we live in a society that is reinforcing that at all times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just talking to my guest about, there have always been those studies and articles that say the trauma from slavery has like passed down through generations. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, if that can happen for like Black people with the trauma, what makes you think that that same notion can't happen with white people? And that's why they don't care, because they've never had to.
Yeah. And all they
They've
know
never had
is
to.
violence. Like
Yeah.
that's ingrained in them. And
Mm-hmm.
white supremacy is a trauma wound that all of us collectively are experiencing on some different level. Like, yes, white people benefit from white privilege, but that doesn't mean that that hasn't shaped, like, broken their brains to think that like violence is normal,
Mm-hmm.
the exploitation and extraction that they're used to is normal. That shit's not normal. But like they have come to think that it is, just because of generational trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all really need to go to therapy.
Please,
Listen.
Please.
please, and thank you. And
Please.
come back after several sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Well, and to kind of go back to what you said, Janae, about, people not even wanting to help Like, we're kind of seeing that now with the tornado that just hit up here in St. Louis. Um, stupid fucking Josh Hawley, like, just sent a letter to, declare a national emergency up here, and like, where's FEMA and blah blah blah. And it's like, buddy, you cut their budget. You cut their funding.
Like literally just recently.
Just recently.
You don't remember that?
Yeah. And now you want to be like, where we at? And I might fudge up on the numbers, but they were saying that FEMA was cut like kind of so much that essentially how their budget will be spread out will be for every disaster. It kind of sounded like you're only going to get $41 million for the next 16 years.
Whoa.
Cute.
So
Cute.
I'm
So
like,
basically you're on your own.
Yeah, because we all know how these corrupt ass budgets work, right? Like,
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
see that.
literally.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to have some specific places that people could donate in St. Louis, where we knew that it was going to go directly to the people. And I've been asleep all day because COVID. So I didn't get that done. Do you guys know anyone? And if not, that's okay. I'll make sure to add it to the edit. But do we know of any mutual aid? Anything where if people are listening, they can send money that they know for a fact is going directly to the people that need it the most?
I know Action St. Louis is taking donations. For the Culture is taking
I
donations.
love her.
By Any Means Necessary is also like taking donations and helping.
I think Black Men Build St. Louis.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all of the organizations that Mariah listed, I know those are happening.
There was Action STL.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else. Eco Village STL. Those two. I wanted to add those two.
With that one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
Action STL for sure.
Yeah. And I know Corey Bush is out there, and she's partnered up with Christian Blackman is a very well-known person here in St. Louis. I know they're taking donations. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of right off the top of my head.
We'll add them to the edit too, like
Yeah.
where you should be able to just click, make it easy for you. But yeah, St. Louis is on their own, and summer hasn't even hit yet. We haven't gotten to hurricane season yet. Yeah, so
yeah. Also,
just
this is
know.
like reminder. This is just kind of the beginning of tornado season, because when we had that one back in April, I was kind of like, damn, like if it's already kind of getting like this and we're not even in tornado season yet, like what's that going to look like when it's here? And I don't know if you guys have seen the map, but the map has shifted for Tornado Alley, and it's going more north, and St. Louis is now like right in the middle. And Janae and I were talking earlier because we were out in Winfield for a little bit growing up, and like we were used to like, that kind of weather out there. I know me personally, there were a few days I'd go out and that sky was green.
Yeah.
But to have that like blow through a city, and did you guys know there were people up in the arch?
Yeah. I've seen a little bit of that footage. And
Yeah.
I can't even get myself to watch the whole thing because I'm just like, I can't even imagine. And like,
can't imagine.
Like, I could not do it.
That's terrifying.
Terrifying.
My legs have I've only been inside the arch a couple of times, but my legs are jello every time. being inside the arch and seeing a tornado go by, I would probably mess up my pants. Just saying.
For sure.
That's insane.
So
That's
scary.
insane. And I also just want to point out too that defunding FEMA is actually a part of Project 2025. So they seem to be right on schedule. Just throwing that out there.
Love that. Thanks, guys. Okay. Yeah, Josh Hawley, fuck you. You're dumb. Oh, but to also go back with the tornado, I don't know if you saw, but they're saying that the whole siren debacle, was a human error.
Right.
And it kind of so it got me thinking, because I guess I technically live in the county. And I know every Monday, or the first Monday of every month, we're doing a siren drill. So then it got me thinking, like, was there not a drill that happened earlier this month? Because I feel like there's a lot of blame game going on. Like, they're trying to say it was. Hold on, I gotta look up what their name was.
So what are they saying? That someone wasn't available to sound the alarm?
Yeah,
How is it a
like,
human error?
yes, they were saying that, like, the person that was supposed to be to press the button, like, was in. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find it.
In the restroom.
No, they were, like, in a meeting. They were in a meeting, and apparently they had told the fire department to do the sirens, and then when they went to do it, the buttons weren't working, or something malfunctioned. And I'm just kind of like, shouldn't this have been better prepared?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
I mean, infrastructure, I've already been like talking to people about how infrastructure is crumbling. Like,
Yeah.
like literally all we have is each other, because we can't rely on these larger systems to like do the things. There was I remember seeing a report that said one of the main like meteorologists was removed because of funding being removed from like the National Weather Service. So it was like when they were reporting on Kentucky's tornadoes that were just as bad, they said that they didn't have a meteorologist to report on that situation, and they were definitely suffering because of that. So it's like, there's the people who should be in place to do these things are not, and there's no reinforcement of these practices.
Yeah, this says the primary responsibility for activating the city's 60 outdoor warning sirens lies with the City Emergency Management Agency, or CEMA. However, during the tornado on May 16th, 2025, CEMA Commissioner Sarah Russell was attending an off-site workshop and attempted to delegate the task to the St. Louis Fire Department. The instructions provided were ambiguous, leading to confusion. Compounding the issue, the activation button at the fire department was found to be non-functional during a subsequent test. As a result, the sirens were not sounded, contributing to the tragedy that ensued. So, again, I'm just a hairstylist.
Somebody getting fired.
It's a little weird that you're telling me the fire department didn't know how to sound the alarms.
Do y'all not practice this ever? Like, is there no practice?
Well, and then I also found a Facebook. One of my friends made this status. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I wanted to share some information about Commissioner Sarah Russell. She and I worked together for many years before she joined the city, and she has dedicated, I'm sorry, I think Sarah goes by they, them. I'm gonna, my bad. Um, Before they joined the city, and they had dedicated their career to safety and emergency management. They are extremely knowledgeable and they are great at their job. Sarah can't speak for themselves, so I want everyone to know the truth. SEMA is not responsible for sounding the tornado sirens. They have not had this responsibility in over 15 years. SEMA's budget doesn't allow for 24/7 staffing, so the fire department has been and is responsible for the tornado sirens. In my opinion, Sarah is being thrown under the bus here when it was not their failure. We need Commissioner Russell now more than ever to facilitate the cleanup. An investigation is warranted and a fix needs to be implemented, but let's make sure we hold the correct person accountable. SEMA had a workshop 3 blocks away from the command center. The fire department is supposed to have a firefighter in the command center at all times, but they don't. They choose to rely solely on their primary alarm system at dispatch. They disregarded protocol and put lives at risk. So I don't know like what's gonna happen or like who's to really like blame here. I do find it funny that Miss Kara Spencer, you kind of ran your whole little campaign on, if I were in office, like I would do this or blah, blah, blah. Well, you've been in office and we've had 3 sinkholes and now a tornado.
Your time to shine, Kara.
Yeah. So let's get out there and prefer.
I was wondering too. I was just thinking, Janae, about your higher sensitivity to the air post tornado. Is that so I know for years there was like toxic waste on fire under St. Louis. Is that still a thing?
So I think that as far as I heard, the fire is contained, but that was the reason why I left St. Louis when I did in 2015. So I'm actually just fresh back to St. Louis within the last year. So I spent 10 years away, but that was because I heard about what was going on with Westlake being on fire. The site where they dumped the chemicals from the Manhattan Project from World War II, it was close to the fire. There were, appendix cancer was up. That's such a random cancer to be widespread. That was up in Hazelwood area, which is the area where the landfill was. Childhood brain cancer was up 300% in that area. And once I got wind of that, I was like, you know what? I've got an opportunity to leave. My childhood home is very close to Hazelwood, and we're like 15 minutes from there, maybe 10, on a good day. And so I was just like, I'm getting out while the getting's good, y'all. I'm gonna check back in on everybody. And then by the time I left, there were documentaries coming out. There was more information being put out about what was going on. But yeah, I mean, that has impacted my conceptualization of air quality for sure in the city. And that shaped how I've thought about it for the past decade.
And I know with this tornado, it ripped up a lot of trees. So there's a lot of like mold and fungus in the air. And I know one of my friends said like poison ivy is also just kind of like out in the air as well. So it would be, if you're going to be out there cleaning up, like it'd probably be beneficial to wear gloves, maybe like a long sleeve shirt.
Yes.
I can only imagine too. Yeah, mask. I can only imagine with bugs as well. Like I think the cicadas are supposed to be out this year too. So like,
asbestos, lead
Mhm.
that has come from the houses destroyed.
Yup.
Pollen, obviously. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot in the air right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Good
right. Well, we
times.
already hit our first hour. So do we want to take a break?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. That's a wrap, but the movement marches on. Black Behind the Chair isn't just a show, it's a statement. We're Impad and
Peppermint Petty.
And Janae, also known as Sovereignty Conjurer.
challenging you to be your most authentic and unfiltered self, both in the salon and beyond. Keep shaking the table and breaking the mold. Until next time, power to the curl.
Cheers.